Welcome back. If you've made it this far, congratulations. This is probably where most of you, I would imagine, if you're not super technical or into doing too much prep to use an AI tool, this might be the last module you do with me. I hope you stick around to the end to hear about a bonus module that I have coming soon, and also ways that you can get a copy to my entire AI prompt library and way more detailed explanations that accompany each of these videos so that you can easily copy and paste any of the prompts that I talk about here at a high level, but I talk about much more in depth in the actual course content, Notion pages associated with this. All right, so let's dive right in. Today, we're going to talk about building your budget AI bar tutor for the MEE. I'm going to talk through two paths. One, building a custom GPT, and secondly, building Claude projects. And you can also do the same thing with ChatGPT projects. It kind of just is up to you what you want to get out of the tools. And I think a much more in-depth explanation as to the pros and cons of the three are in that Notion document, which you can find out in the end how to get access to. Okay, so before we go dive in further and before you start using ChatGPT or Claude to grade your essays, I'm going to give you the AI nutrition label. Hallucinations happen. AI might confidently invent a rule, so always verify the black letter law against your outline. Directional scoring. AI cannot perfectly replicate human grading curves. A 4 is just an indicator. It's not a definitive NCBE score. And then leniency drift. Beware of this. Over time, the AI will artificially inflate your scores to try to please you. So the key takeaway is the product is for written feedback. It's a pulse check. It's not to give you, yes, you're guaranteed good to go, or you're not. It's really just to have somebody other than yourself looking at your essay and comparing it to the content from your outline. Also some grading rubric scores that my prompts also include. So hopefully to give you somewhat structured feedback. Okay, so what do you need to build the tools? One, you need the actual NCBE MEE subject matter outline. It's very easy. You could Google it easily, NCBE MEE subject matter outline. At the time of filming this, it's May 2026, and I've put a link in the Notion directly to the latest version of that. The second document you need is a sample MEE question, not just one, but several. So the NCBE website also keeps an archive of publicly released MEE questions that are official, and I highly recommend using official documents because we want to practice as if we're taking the real thing on test day. And I recommended uploading the last 2 to 3 iterations of the exam. And for the most recent iteration, they haven't released sample answers yet. And so that's where document number 3 comes in. I like to find a UBE district because that's what I'm in. You could do it for your own district if you have a special district that doesn't follow the UBE. But I like to find representative good answers. Maryland's the closest district to me that's UBE, even though I'm taking it in another UBE district. And I upload the answers to those essays from the representative good answers. And then lastly, the fourth one is a rubric for the grading. I found one from JD Advising that was based off of Washington State, and they're a UBE district, and therefore that's why I used it. But again, if you have a different grading rubric and you have access to that in your state, I'm sure a quick Google search, or you might even be able to ask ChatGPT, hey, pull this up for me. Whatever it is, just find the rubric that works for you. But I'm using a UBE rubric in this particular example. Okay, so there's some trade-offs, right? And a lot of it is unique to you. I've played around with both tools for a while now. I find that ChatGPT is useful if you need to ask it a lot of questions and if you care more about volume, because for some reason it seems like the credits don't get used up as fast when I'm submitting essays for grading to ChatGPT like it does to Claude. With Claude, I tend to reach my usage maximum pretty quickly. And I don't know if that's a known fact. Again, I'm not a techie person here. I'm just someone studying for the bar. But I find that I don't get to do as many questions with Claude like I can with ChatGPT, both on the pro plan. But I like the answers that Claude gives me better. They're more qualitative, I guess is the way to describe it. And it seems to do a little bit better analysis in its response back to me, which is why I prefer Claude for the analysis piece. But again, ChatGPT, there's just a higher volume I'm able to pump out with it. I actually recommend, regardless which tool you use, whatever answer gets spit back out to you, double check it with another AI tool if you have access to a different one. I like to pit them against each other and be like, Claude told me this, what would you say? Or ChatGPT told me this, what would you say? And if you did get Notebook LM, Gemini also has project style tool too. I just found that Notebook LM is great, but I didn't really like the feedback I was getting with Gemini. I felt like it wasn't very specific, but again, someone could prove me wrong. I actually haven't tried doing as much in-depth research with Google Gemini to grade an essay because I figured maybe more people are using either ChatGPT or Claude. And so I wanted to show how to utilize either of those tools since that seems to be the two tools that most people are going with these days at the time of recording this. I'm going to keep saying this because I feel like every week in AI world, something new changes, some new feature. So this could be old news tomorrow, but it's something that I just wanted to share as to like the reasoning behind why I chose these two tools. Okay, so setting up a custom GPT. You're going to go to create a GPT, navigate to the knowledge base. You're going to upload your 4 anchor files that we talked about before. There's probably more if you're doing multiple iterations of different exams. And then you're going to put in the instructions a specific grading criteria. And it's a very long prompt that I've come up with. And please, please, please get access to the Notion document so you can easily just copy and paste it in. But you can tailor it to if you're someone like, I don't feel like doing all that. I just want to start now. I don't really have the time to go and like find your Notion, copy and paste the prompt, or while I'm waiting for you to send the link to me, what can I start with? Tell it that they work for the NCBE and they need to grade my essay on a scale of 1 to 6, make reference to the anchor file. I have some sample good answers. Those are passing scores, and I need you to give me feedback, detailed feedback as to whether the rules or issues were spotted, the correct rules, analysis, conclusion, etc. You can craft it to something that's useful for you, but I highly recommend to use the prompts that I have because they've been working for me so far. And, the whole point of this is so that it's one less step for you to have to do. Okay, setting up projects. You can also set up projects with ChatGPT as well. It's very similar to setting up a project with Claude, but I just wanted to plug that for me, I did the GPT because you create the instructions once and then you attach the files at the GPT level. And then you would just start a new a new chat for every essay conversation. In Claude projects, very similar. You'll create a new project, you upload the same exact anchor files, and then you're going to input that custom grading instructions. And again, I think Claude, as of right now, provides better qualitative feedback on the essays. And here's the caveat. You notice on the previous screen, I nixed out automatic memory for native memory because as a non-technical AI user, I was doing some research and I think that if I understand correctly, even though ChatGPT, I've toggled on to remember my conversations across chats, I've toggled that on and the Notion talks through how to like make sure those are turned on. I still find that sometimes in a project, it doesn't necessarily, or the GPT doesn't necessarily remember like previous things we've had in a conversation all the time. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. It's not perfect, but I think with essays, I'm not really too concerned about it remembering what I got wrong last time or not, because I'm always copying over the feedback I get into my book of shame document if I've like totally blown it and didn't spot the issues. So that's the way that I'm having the feedback loop and keeping a memory for myself. Claude projects, similarly, you kind of have to make your own memory loop because it also doesn't have native memory. Again, right now, that could change, but as of right now, it doesn't. So just always copy the feedback. Some people like to create an actual error log. I just suggested maybe Notion might be an easy way to create an error log. You can even tie your Notion to your Claude project and just give it a prompt like, go into my Notion error log and add the summary as to what issues I missed and the rules that I missed so that I can go back and review later. And it'll do that for you. That's another way to handle the feedback loop. But again, right now I'm doing like copy paste in Google Docs and that's working for me just fine. So what do you choose? I think it's up to you. I already told you my 2 viewpoints. I think ChatGPT, it's easier for me to use when I know that I need to ask it a lot more questions or have a lot more essays I want to get through. I just think that I have yet to reach the maximum capacity of my usage limit on ChatGPT, but every day in Claude, I think like every 5 hours, it's like, wait for another 2 hours, you've used your credits, and I'm just not willing to pay more than $20 a month for more credits. So ChatGPT has been my go-to so far for just quick feedback. Again, if you want a lot more nuanced feedback though, which can be, I think is definitely more helpful than Claude. But I say why not both? Why, $40 a month, why not both? So, I talked about earlier if you wanted access to all of the prompts for this whole course and much more detailed step by step and explanations, please go and subscribe to my Substack so that you can get weekly updates on bar prep. However, I also understand there may be people who are like, I don't want another subscription. I've already oversubscribed to many things. I really want it to be utilized. And so for that reason, if you give us a thumbs up on this video on YouTube, that also helps the algorithm. But I'm willing to give it to you without subscribing as well. If you just go find one of my articles on Substack and just comment, I'm here from YouTube, and I will DM you the direct link to the full Notion database. And it's all the exact prompts that I've been using personally and that I've talked about in this series. It's easy just to copy, paste, and yeah, just get you started right away. So next week will be an advanced bonus lesson, and that's for people who want to get truly nerdy. And we're going to dive into Anthropic's new desktop Claude co-work environment. All right, thanks for watching, and we'll talk next week.